jars. That was fast. I'm just waiting for the sad about vaping to pass. Or, hello cornbread. Hello blue fire, don't make me QWQ. Hello. Hello Dakota Kerndell. For anyone who wasn't here last stream, I can't remember. Basically, this fanfic the ring. America has kids, the states, and the countries come over. And I think it's just coronavirus and stuff. Okay, so I am tired. I stayed up until 5 a.m. yesterday. Also, as I should say, I'm at my dad's house. I'm at my dad's house, so I know he sleeps like a log, but I just don't want to alert him. So, Okay, let's start this. Let's start chapter 5 with America's Pav, as we usually do. America's Pav. I walked towards my favorite room in the house, especially for being alone. The basement, where I keep my kids. Nobody bothered me here unless it was urgent. I could stay there without a care in the world. A rather inconspicuous, but welcome and familiar door greeted me. Its oil painted, chipped from time to time. Handle loaded from use. Even my seats escaped this place sometimes. Our happy place, as we called it. My dorkish attitude from my co-workers that was a facade. Here, I should be myself. Walking to a distant corner of the room, which seemed like its own world of lush green and twinkling stars, a comforting ashtray wrapped its arms around me as I climbed onto one of the branches, it gently lulling in the wind. Jeez, wait, this is the basement? This was where I worked. Well, preferred to. It was calming and peaceful, no disturbance of a rampaging Florida, certain sets of twins, or anyone really. If anyone joined them when he needed to escape, it would be or DC. The America clenched one of the smooth parts of his black frames, glasses opening his eyes. Even the strange bright one eye glowed. It was currently a soft earthy brown with tones of amber and sunlight yellow. There was the dark wood of her two opposing parts of his facade. Tears shrieked down his white and blue cheek. Wait, what? The southern part of the U.S. bringing back bad memories, but it wasn't all bad. Confederate had been all bad for a while. When the twins were younger, Confederate was just like him, but the government of the outside world, as America liked to call it, changed them. He attacked America, bled his eye black, when America took the life of his kin. He cried, the salty tears intermingling with blood and the scent of death. The man he called brother had turned into a monster, and, if even in self-defense, it hurt. Replaying the memory in his head, the hate warmed in his cheeks, showing his weakness. It wasn't like he could help it. But every time he thought back, the blood of the boy, his other half, that he had once held so dear to him seemed so tame. The white flash of his fingertips again. America stared at them, almost invested by the cool blackness of the skin, before he was ripped from his thought by a voice. Dad, are you okay? Della DC, Penn, and Virginia were walking towards them. Of course they'd come. They knew. The five always had flashbacks. Don't mind me just scratching the itch. the tears flowing more freely now when his safe place revealed it all. America, a protective and strong father, was in no way okay. They already knew that. But having it hit you in the face stung. DC, the youngest of the four, was the first to speak again. She hugged her father tightly. "We knew we'd find you here. We're here for you, Dad. Don't worry." Confederate can't hurt us anymore. They must deal with him, too. For Jeanette, the lost string of words, her voice soft and comforting. America managed a small but genuine smile, and the five hugged tightly. Though tears still fell, it was on supporting hands, ones that could hoist him up as he did they. "Let's splash some water on your face before we eat. Don't want anybody noticing," Pennsylvania said, his voice calm as usual. "What happens here stays here, as it did then," said the father out of the four. His words were the most familiar thing of all, sunny state. They held such meaning of his past, their past, together, just as the family was meant to be. That was a great chapter. I wonder what will happen in the next chapter. Dude, thank you so much for reference. If you have Wattpad or don't have Wattpad, but you can still go online, try looking up Wattpad. Just look up State Humans fanfiction. If you can find this fanfic, then read it. Let me just. America's Pav. Again. America splashed water on his face, cold droplets slipping across his skin as he looked at the flag imprinted on it. The colors were his favorite thing about himself. I think he actually liked. Same. Each star born one of the aspects of his states, the fact that they existed. It wasn't perfect, but he loved it. Wearing a fluffy white hand towel, the fabric ran over the color, tracing the lines gently with the edge. He placed it into a basket before plastering on his signature bright smile. The seat at the head of the table felt unwelcoming. There was much he would give to be alone instead, though the American just grabbed the plate and just piled a little bit of everything on it. Jim was in the seat to his right, Belvoir to the left. One country, one state. Tell him to be struggling to hide worry from creeping onto her face for her father. Jimmy just seemed somewhat happy, albeit stressed. Being without stress would almost be a miracle during this time. Too many issues plagued the world at this time, one of them being a plague. The train's back. I'm probably gonna come around again in about a couple minutes. It was almost lonely that way, even though there were over 85 people in the room. Jimmy turned to America, his brows furrowed slightly. "How have you been doing?" The elder's reply was uneasy at best. "Why do you ask?" Jimmy calmed himself, his breath surprisingly smooth. "I mean, it's not strong text a friend." "I'm fine, thanks for asking. You?" His reply was short and sincere, a slight real smile placing the previous one. Real smiles were always better, at least Hawaii told him. And not believing such a sweet child would be stupid. Both seemed to have calmed a bit, just from talking lightheartedly. "I'm doing well. Louisiana's cooking is incredible." Jimmy filled with glasses. America nodded, grinning. "Without a doubt." The German still seemed to be uneasy, but America shrugged it off. From experience, he learned not to pry, so he just enjoyed the food, cleaning the dishes when done. Sophie and Russia. Why did I say it like that? Jesus. Walked over to him as he scrubbed the pork lane. "I'm sorry for being bring. Pushy guilty Medica." Sylvia apologized, looking done and guilty. Placing the last of the serving dishes on the drying rack on top of the dishwasher. and discarding the gloves he wore. America smiled. I don't know how to accept your apology. You're both drunk. Jesus. Let me just sit on my pillow for a sec. Lean back onto the headboard. Okay. Russia blushed a little. How he acts is more what he wants to do, but wouldn't otherwise. The both of us become clingy to. I'm sorry, America. Nodding, the one receiving said apology. The one receiving said apology, walked off to the bed. Today was overwhelming. Merrick locked his door, taking off the sunglasses and revealing his eyes. He slipped on into some more comfortable night clothes and walked into the restroom with the glasses. A razor towards the edge of the sink. America, no! But the sink was tempting him. It always made him less stressed. Forget the mistakes of others himself blamed himself for. Today he resisted. It wasn't good. Hurting himself would hurt his kids, and children were what mattered most to him. Taking a look at the empty, disgusting blank that once used to glow with the same resonance as his other eye, the sunglasses returned to his face. Hawaii told him they made him unique, and to never wear glasses around her, so he didn't. But Hawaii was the only exception. The black void was horrific. Locking the door, he was surprised when yet again Russia walked in. Sighing, America spoke to him with a scowl. Nightmares again. The Russian's reply was flat, void of personality. Like that. Okay. His gaze was a bit shifty, and his pinky twitched. For some reason, he was lying. But he best not to dwell on it. He had gone to America's bed as the door closed with a gentle click. Even though America was tired, he would have to sleep, but he would have a bit more work before sleep would be an option. Sleep was never an option. For an hour or so, he filled out document after document on his laptop. Tax forms, government papers, everything's. The lids of his eyes were heavy. But he continued working until the clock shone 11:35. It's 10:46, and I'm probably going to stay up for another couple of hours or so, doing nothing. Ash was still staring at him, and shivering now. Closing the laptop and plugging it in, he walked beside his bed. Are you cold? Touched him out quickly. I have more blankets. The Slavic country bit back a scowl. His hiding it was weak. America smirked. Tell me to call you or something? Again, not from Russia. Sighing with exhaustion, America curled up under the blanket behind Russia. The small but young country was clenching to America like his life depended on it. This isn't so bad. Rich shippers are quaking. He chuckled not to shake his head. The idea was dumb. He fell into the sleep just before the clock read 1 o'clock, but on the previous night at least. Haha. Joke's on you, America. I stay up until my mom comes home from work. America's dream. No, good, you were reading a dream. Cool air bit against the ashen skin, white flakes dancing all around him. A small, different-looking America was struggling to trudge through it. He was the least favorite child for good reasons. He was adopted. This night was clear as day to him. Conifers dusted if the light snapped through the sky far above as the light glowed ahead, accompanied by a small billow of gray. Shivering through the skins on this person, he picked up his fifth pace. 4 figures sat around the fire, sheltered by logs tightly tied together with vines, covered by wide-brimmed leaves and straw. The roof was alright, and there were 2 walls, one connected to a tree. Rocks surrounded the flame. It's gentle. 5 animal skins, topped with well-made beds, tied together with string made of spider silk. his old home, just north of the Delaware River, where he was raised by Native America with his sisters Vinland and Roanoke, along with his brother Dakota. You know, this is the first time anyone has ever mentioned Vinland was a ding. I know what Vinland was from being in the Italian fandom, but no one really mentions him or her in the Country Humans fandom. Something horrible was bound to happen. They shared the berries he had managed to gather, along with small bits of the rabbit. His gloves were actually Vinland's, too big for his small fists. The pelt of the rabbit was quickly made by an expert precision to gloves by his mother. Usually they didn't talk. A simple nod conveyed everything. Not this time, however. What is that sound? Deers. 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 Native America's voice was soft yet strong, full of caring. The four children stared intently at their mother, worry filled their eyes as they noticed a crack on the edge of her strangely toned skin. I fear today may be my last. Native America had prepared the siblings for this. It was around 400 years before the Nordics would come to the Americas. Dakota held Native America as she cried. My babies. You all have abilities. You know that. Use them wisely and protect each other. I'll protect you best I can from up there. With that she shattered, and the young America burst into tears. Mommy? Roanoke rested a gentle hand on the shoulder, and gazed out fearfully as a roar shook their surroundings. Fun to go. Dakota growled quickly, taking a spear. The yellow trained to kill the cannibalistic monsters. The tall, lanky creatures approached them. With a cry, Dakota ran off. America remembered he didn't return until 2 days later, bloodied and beaten. Usually 3 men to go meant to pack. They were correct, and the native tribe found around 13 just after his mother passed. After the dream, a hand shook the American wake, and he bolted the lake. Radia. Radda. Held his shoulder. America? Are you okay? You were crying in the night. The clock shone 4:33. Shaking little America spoke, his voice slightly rasped. Just a nightmare. He took a breath. I've had the same before. It's about parts of my past I'd rather not speak of. He shut off before sobbing, but the loud, anguished noise was cut off by the kid on the lip from Russia. Okay. He disconnected quickly. Sorry, just thought it would help calm you. The young, only around 40-year-old Russian boy was blushing, glancing at the much older American. Did it help? Hey, hold up. I made a comment about this earlier, but should be around 800 years because of the Native Americans, 700 years from the Europeans discovering him, and 243-ish, 45, 40, 44, 200 something years from his independent state. So Russia's 40. Jesus. America, frozen and buckshing slightly, didn't know how to answer. Jesus. It was surprising. That's it. That was it. He turned back to the cover, still shaking. I shot him close, trying to keep him calm. How could I have forgotten those 3? Had my mother for so long. He fell asleep again. This time, dreamless. Honestly, same, Arthur-san. Same. Okay. Maybe there's around 46 chapters, so if I keep live streaming continuously, then that means that this would probably take around 10-ish live streams. So let's go to chapter 7. America's Pop. Again, we're starting America's Pop. It was around 6 in the morning when the American got up. Geez, only 2 hours for sleep. Glancing at the Russian beside him, the previous night's event still hung his mind comfortably. Russia's actions weren't much, but they resonated with America. Pushing himself up gently, he carefully not to wake the sleeping Slavic nation. He slumped to bed, taking a cool blue shirt and black fur-lined jacket alongside the comfortable and tight black leggings. Them thighs. America entered his bathroom to take a shower. Trying to ignore the thoughts, he took a cool shower. Thoughts. The water bit his skin. Jesus. Like, you want some new water? You want to bite your skin? You didn't deserve the kiss. It was only to calm you. Besides, you already know Russia will only use you to see your vulnerability. Besides, finding your weakness is all that matters to them. He was drawn to the razor, clenching it tightly in one hand, the other taut at his side. The American slipped back into the shower, raising the shiny metal to his wrist, and making a slight incision. There was no... I can't read that. Of pain. Just the metallic scarlet liquid bleeding with the water as he bit his lip, numbing the pain. Jesus. If you show that you're weak, there's some place to crack you. 2 cuts. Trying onward and watching as more of the scarlet liquid started to blend with the clear dyeing it red. Americo smiled. Well, more to show his mistakes. The razor was led by his fingers, up half a take it had taken before, back to his skin. It always healed so quickly, the scar would be gone soon and no blemishes would remain. Hadn't his mother made him that way for his safety? Did she mean for her child to have so many faults? Likely not. Native America would be disappointed in their son, the American taking his blood out of himself. But the emotion would have to weather on. The second line of scar was put on his skin, right beside the only scar remaining, his first. One that never left like a haunting memory. The wound was washed empty in the shower, and his skin was cleaned almost raw. America cleaned the blade as well, positioning it on the edge of the sink, yet again. Dabbing the wound, now scarred again, with wrapping alcohol. Bandages returned to his wrist again. Comfortable clothes were shoved haphazardly onto his person, and the sunglasses he had taken out to shower were returned to his face. Walking out of the bathroom, 23 minutes had passed. His door was opened with a click, yet not by his hand. There stood Soviet, glancing between him and Russia. Did he have nightmares? His reply was gruff and brash, but also tinted with uncanny worry. Yes, why do you ask? America's gaze would have been piercing, yet it couldn't be seen behind the black lenses. I had one of my own. He sounded like a worried child looking for their parent. That was entirely wrong. As America was older than him. But it seemed out of place in a younger country. Did all of the Russians get nightmares? Why was my room your first answer? A slight glare can be sensed through his sunglasses. Soviet shrugged. Plot. What was Russian's reason? The Slavic nation bit back before curling up on the bed. America sighed, knowing the two would fight if they woke up next to each other. The solution ended up being America lying awkwardly between the two. Actually, however much he despised his position, America fell asleep again, only to fall victim to more nightmares and more memories he's forgotten long time ago. Why were they coming back now? America's dream. Again. Hold on, I'm getting water. My throat is dry. I am back. America's Dream. Again. America was back in the ancient Native American times. This time it looked to be around 7, as before it was more like 11. The young American was following Native America, as she led him on a path lit by silver moonlight. He remembered the path. It led to a small waterfall surrounded by a grove of weeping willows, leaves just dipping in the shallow pool beside it. Some even falling into the cave behind the falls. But that wasn't where the two were going that night. They would now remember the slight signal Sawyer gave. A small note with a tight palm lip, the left eye chained, the pinky directed left. That meant words would really be spoken. Words meant more than the silence, though they really used them. He reflected. Branching right off the trail, something shone in the gentle light. It's a curved, thin line cut through the earth, through a gentle flow of cool water running between the rocks and roots, something familiar to America. A brook she often had taken him to. Several deer dipped their heads into the cool nighttime breeze, ruffling their soft fur. Muska. You will always be in tune with nature. Nature is part of who you are. If you ever meet another country, don't let them stop you. She held his cheek, gazing into his radiant, glowing eyes intensely. And don't ever let them hate you for your eyes. They are beautiful and perfect. America was confused. Mama, why are you telling me this? Other countries are starting to explore more of the continent. They're bound to find the hard part of it soon. Her tone was gushing with worry. I'll be fine as long as you're here, Mama. A cheesy grin was on the younger's face. I won't be here forever. Jesus. That I know, but for as long as you are, I'll be fine. And after, too. He smiled, wholly having matured in a harsh world. Strange sound was something being... Gotta wait for this to move. Being cut into pierced through the previously empty air. The deer lay dead. No, the deer! Native America gazed into her child's eyes, terrified. Run, Maska. Have to dream. America woke up only an hour or so had passed. 7 or 8 force shone on the glow from his cock, and even more carefully he got up, so he followed in the action. You are not sleeping in my room tomorrow. He growled at the younger, careful not to wake the still sleeping Russian. Oh no. His voice was gruff, but he seemed to have noticed the underlying distress in the American's tone. Are you okay? It's not your business, communist. Sure, capitalist. America left the room, scowling, headphone rocking gently on his pocket. And so, this our mood, he started making pancakes, bacon, eggs, waffles, sausages, and even a few simple pastries for breakfast. Sylvie wasn't the real thing that was bugging him, though. It was something much different. What are these dreams? Why do they always seem to end with a struggle? They've only been 2, right? Come to think of it, many of America's dreams have been like these. One of the Native Americans usually lurking somewhere. It made me uneasy and worried. Am I even sane? Okay. Chapter 8. We have one more chapter until I stop reading. Because y'all need to sleep wherever you are on the world. It's nighttime here in Virginia. It's 11:03 p.m. I just want to go to sleep. Soviet's Pav. A new path. America looked troubled when he woke, and before he was confused when I came for his aid. I'd have nightmares on my own, and America seems like one who would be fine with comforting. Sure, I'm an adult, but that doesn't mean I'm not human. He always acted so idiotic, practically still a child, whereas I had aged with my country. Not to mention his countless children, which he seemed experienced enough to manage. What confused me the most is how he acted mature here, whenever at a conference between countries. Seeing him stressed, though, that was new. Even though in the Cold War he had kept an eerie calm after waking up and looked as if he'd seen a ghost. Ash was still sleeping, and I returned to my room. The rooms America let us stay were simple, yet elegant. I was glad I didn't react more negatively since he had to host us. The communists he hated so much. America was confusing and mysterious. He had kept his spawn a secret for so long. Even when the first appeared, he must have really been more than a child himself. Ken was the older brother, but he seemed to look up to his obnoxious kin. Maybe I could actually Canadian later, see what was really bothering America, even though it irked me to be so interested in the damned kid. America's pause. New York came down and started to help me cook. Virginia asked to help, but New York called her a virgin, and she ran away. Of course. Why does this always happen? Why, Britain? Why'd you name one state Virginia over Queen's virginity? Why would you do that? Some of the Slavic countries came next. Soviet and Belarus. They seemed interested in the delicious aroma that arose from the kitchen. Wait, I mean breakfast. It seemed to contain a plethora of fresh spices. Cooking always lightened America's mood, which he desperately needed after the previous afternoon. Not long after, Hawaiian Alaska came down. Hawaii cradled in her brother's arms. Small bean, small child. The younger of the two was smiling, as usual. Her eyes bright over the flag plastered on her face. Clasping her hands to Alaska's own, she raced into the kitchen. I can't read you drawing. What are you cooking? I'm so sorry. Macaroni? Macaroni? Yeah, sure. Let's just go with that. Her voice was bubbly. What are you cooking, McQueen? Her voice was bubbly as ever, making America have a slight smile. The real one, in fact, instead of the usual one plastered to his facade at the UN meetings. Smiling, his answer came up hit to the tip of his shuttered jaw. Some New England clam chowder. But I added some fresh spices so it gets a bit of a different flair. Hawaii was jumping a little, full of energy. Can I help? Red's a wish, yeah. The A word. With excitement. Alaska still tied to her. The bits of crazy were no more in the American household. If you want, could you make some biscuits, sweet tea, and fresh orange juice? I can't purr. If you want, could you make some biscuits, sweet tea, and some fresh orange juice? A bit of a purr followed his words, full of affection for his family. Even with the invasion of his parents, siblings Slavic nations, Germany, and Ireland, America's children were his true family. They were with him through it all. And he raised them from when they were young. Hawaii instantly started getting the reasons for the biscuits, and Alaska got some for the drink. One country and 3 states, enjoying cooking together. New York was making some cookies for the territories and younger states who always enjoyed a treat during breakfast. America made soup, which could be eaten at any time of day or night. Having clam chowder on the floor in the middle of the night. Hawaii was enjoying cooking and getting a bit messy, and quite Alaska smelled as it killed many oranges. It was perfect. Even Colorado tried and succeeded in skiing down the stairs. Dabby Flounder made his way to the small room after they set up the breakfast, tapping a small button to talk on an estate-wide intercom. You better get your buttons to Dining Hall if you want to eat. His parents a growl, both playful-natured behind it. Screaming followed as Maine chased Kentucky with a live lobster. Massachusetts tried to murder Britain. Cass managed to make pancakes. Francis chasing Ireland with a baguette. Cursing all the while. Germany followed, looking as if he hadn't slept on an inkling. Handing Germany several cups of coffee. Now screaming and Kurt, "Russia, get out of my room! I'm changing!" The screams were followed by a mortified-looking Russia walking downstairs, who quickly followed by Ukraine, barreled past him with a huff. Kentucky and Indiana were next, talking civilized about cars. Indiana was almost knocked down by Illinois, who was holding a potato. Curses and screams in a variety of languages followed, as 50 states, 5 territories, 3 military bases, NASA, CDC, and DC all sent alongside the disgruntled-looking countries. Large booms sounded outside as the crack of thunder from billowing clouds sounded overhead. Oh, thank God, that someone was dropping a nuke for a sec. Several of the states jumped. The sounds reminded them of trauma. America froze, and several tears started streaking down his cheeks. He couldn't help it. After his mind was fading into a storm. This always happens. The sounds of bullets and bombs, a deep cackle from the lost butter, something inside him cracked. Racing upstairs into his room and blocking the door, he tapped to his pillow as memories led him. Jesus. Memories, sadly enough. The countries could see as they crowded rurally around the American's door. Memories of America. A soft voice spoken. You know what? Frick this voice. I'm using my high-pitched voice. The soft voice spoke in the silence as America's mind was floated. All he saw were memories. As the country stood in the immaculate corridor of blanched white. My name is Native America, as you're all wait for Masca, or as you know him, the United States of America. Would you like to witness his memories? The nations nodded attentively, not aware that they were in for a nightmare. A woman in an anti-garb appeared, with long black hair and a coy smile. Each door houses a memory. None of them are kind. I have warned you, and you cannot return to this place unless you need to. Her voice was clear. The little dickly accent said. 3 doors appeared. One was labeled Lost. The other labeled Gunshots. The final labeled Brother. Frick this voice. The native woman disappeared, leaving the disgruntled and the crowd disgruntled and confused. Sylvia grunted, roughly opening the doorway labeled Gunshots, the white thing into a horrible scene. Day of the Boston Massacre. A happy-looking young America wearing brown suspenders, white button-up shirt, and polished black leather shoes adorned his person. He was short, around 5 feet at the time, but muscular. Short? America, I'm 4'10". I know. You're a fucking tree. He was chasing after a little girl. A slight smirk etched on his cheek as an annoyed 12-er still Pennsylvania followed. The girl had the flag of Massachusetts on her face. They were in the moral realm, where countries appeared as normal people, but other countries could see their flags. The young girl ran into the square and froze as a bang rang through the air, knocking a man to the ground in a heap. She screamed. The sound shrill as she tried to run towards America. The girl was too late. America's face fell, and he froze as the brightness sin in her eyes faded, blood dyeing his clothes and a disgusting scarlet. The bright ones in her eyes and her expression turned lifeless, a look of utter horror now pressed onto the corpse. Drops of the same liquid fell onto the ground, blending with the water from pale a nearby woman dropped. Bossy? America asked, his expression mortified. Pennsylvania, too, was frozen in face. She shook herself out of it, gripping her father's shoulder and lifting Boston into her arms before running away. The scene faded. Jesus freaking Christ! The scene faded. Only 2 doors remained, and 11 horrified nations. Britain was on the brink of tears. Was that my fault? The voice of Native America sounded again. It is, as long as you don't apologize, as long as you won't stop hurting my dear Maska, and until you stop blaming himself for your mistakes, I'll remove the door of loss, as it's too much. Brothers is a million times worse, but when you are ready. Random the world returned, and their minds somehow rationalized the situation enough to ease their nerves for the time. Last chapter, woo! Jesus. Germany's POV. Oh, look, we got another country's POV. This bit Britain broke down America's door looking distraught. All of us were. Jeez, you could have knocked instead of, breaking down my freaking door. But okay. Why hadn't America told anyone? He had so many secrets. Like Area 51. After the sound of the door breaking, a battle cry sounded from the hall, and South Dakota launched himself at us, screaming well as profanities in a strange language. Get away from father! He screeched, launching himself into Britain, causing the man to fall over. May blocked the door, and he glared at her looks of surprise. You're the reason he's hurt. Under no circumstance will I let you bother him. Venom resonated through his tone. Go scratch my cheek. America stopped, and the broken-looking words of the upbeat American we all knew walked towards the door. Son, I'll be fine. Son, he'll be fine. Son, I'll be fine. His voice was hoarse and flat as he spoke. No, you aren't. South Dakota looked ready to lecture him. Surprised me when he hugged America. You've been fine for a long time, Dad. We all know that, but they don't. Alaska, Oregon, DOG, and Indiana all walked down the hall towards the group. We know, Grandma. We know Grandma wanted you to help Papa, but you shouldn't focus on making your relationship better first. Alaska spoke some Russian words not all understood, glancing at the now exploded door. Oregon, or OG, can you get a new door from Papa's room? The aforementioned state raced off. India and Alaska both hugged America, managing to wrap their arms around his strangely thin waist. I'm sorry, America. I'm sorry, America. I spoke, glancing at the trio. He smiled weakly. It's fine, Germany. I walked off, angry I had noticed my friend's suffering. America's POV. I gave Jimmy a quick glance as he walked off, followed by his fellows. I sighed, taking off my sunglasses and placed them softly on the dresser. The ground onto the floor, bed was blunted, and the end held a hand on one of my shoulders. Alaska was standing awkwardly in one corner. My eyes cast a cold glow to the previously dark room, and I stomped into my palm. Did you remember that? Was it something from before us? Alaska questioned, looking up, a few tears of his own nudging the tip of his blue eyes. Oh my god, my... I'm getting some more water. America nodded, sighing. It was something about my mom. He nodded, and the ant continued to rub circles on his father's back. I should probably go out before they worry. Tell his voice was disparaging, although likely only of himself. Alaska scowled, walking towards the other. You need to do anything for those stinky garbage piles. I know, but that doesn't mean I won't. A weak laugh came from American, and a small tisk from Alaska's lips. They knew nothing would get past his stubbornness, and they trusted his decisions, even some of them were deeply disliked. Neither of the two made a sound as they exited the room, only leaving when OG returned with a new door. America walked downstairs as the dark sunglasses returned to his face. Britain, France, New Zealand, and Australia were nowhere to be seen. Ireland was comforting a distraught-looking Canadian. Germany and Russia were talking in low tones. Ukraine was in Belarus were sitting at the TV watching some cooking channel. So walking over to America from one side of the room. Why didn't you tell us you were hurt? He asked, gently worried. The other smiled starkly. It's not good to open old wounds. You should know that, Soviet. Fanfiction began to etch his tone, and America wordlessly walks off to the second housing building. Third-person puff. Germany, Russia, and Soviets snuck after him not long after. Germany and Russia were dragged into it by Soviet. The Germany convincing and the beer to begrudgingly follow the Russians. The second building was smaller, though still large. 3 stories, whereas there were 6. The second and third floors belonged to the military branches. NASA, DC, CDC, and the Regional 13. The first seemed just like normal stuff. But America went down one of the hallways and opened the door. Led to an archery room and a staircase. You expected a shooting range, but no. America was surrounded with mythical creatures, one of them being Wendigo named Gun. It had taken a bullet for the American a few years prior, and shot the attacker with their own weapon. So Gun took a bullet for ya, huh? Although most Wendigo usually had a craving for human flesh. He had found dangerous creatures all over the world, saving others from the plethora of damages they could cause. Nobody even knew that he wasn't exactly a country human, more like a country demon. Something. A demon without negative connotations. Placing his glass on the table and opening a separate door, which hosted a variety of bows, walking to the back of the room, there was a stringless white bow. It was a combination of ivory and quartz, etched with strange runic carvings, and stone with various glittering gemstones. The American noticed a silver arrow and the string appearing, clearly gold without presence. Light pressure filling the room because of the magic. His fingers starting loosening to shoot before his phone dinged. He seemed annoyed, removing the arrow and quickly typing in his password. He had 2 new notifications for emails, typing the older first. They were only older by a few seconds. Both were from EU. To United States of America, USA. North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. Association of Southeast Asian Nations, from European Union, EU. Theoretical United Nations, UN. Theoretical United Nations, UN passed away due to the unknown alignment. Currently more infected. Another dead nation has returned to our presence. Currently well. American host. All. 19. America, Soviet Union, Britain, France, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, Ireland, Germany, American children. Chinese host. Majority. 4 out of 6. China, South Korea, Japan, Philippines. Organizations. All 3. EU, NATO, Asian, Nordics. All 5. Sweden, Iceland, Finland, Norway, Denmark. As of recent, we have discovered that that was thought dead have been found alive. Third week. Along with this, with all the American household members being well, we would like to be housed there as well. Please, America, I'm serious. Send me the address. Now. America choked on nothing, coughing a bit. What the He huffed angrily, replying with the address about 100 angry Japanese emoticons. Emojis are illegal. Use emoticons. America's pub. EU, dude, what are you doing? No warning. He started texting New York and the details and asking him to tell the countries. Notching the arrow again, he let it fly, focusing on the energy around it, and was directing it to the center of the bullseye. Stepping once, the arrow returned to his palm. Stepping again, the bullseye had repaired. The light of his eyes still on a blood red. Using magic sometimes did this, and it was annoying. Look how he usually was that of his twins. Confederacy. I'm sorry. America's memories. Let's see how far we got. Oh, halfway through chapter 9. America's memories. America, April 12th, 1861. Starts the Civil War. I'm scrolling my back. America, now yet still dressed in the same fashion, chased a near identical boy with blood red eyes through a corridor of his mansion. It was the same as today, technology and all. The two were laughing, and he tripped. Confederacy walked over to him, helping him up. Big brother, can we go eat now? I think Yorkie's done now. America nodded, entering the familiar kitchen. New York was planning on an earlier version of the same clam chowder he made earlier. The two smiled along with the chaotic states, taking a bite. Confederacy swallowed but started choking after. It wasn't the food, and he clutched his chest, falling to the floor. He started coughing up blood and his skin started darkening. He changed. Big brother, the southern states are doing something. You're at war now. Won't be able to hold it back for long. He whimpered, and the next word was screamed loud enough to echo, chill and stuck in memory. Run! They did, all the states. The young Florida fell, staring wide at the Confederacy. Ran towards her with a knife, looking taller, stronger, angry. Mary helped her up and shoved her away. The knife hit his right eye, and instantly turning black. Confederacy started coughing more, crying. Give me before it does you. America then and was buried later that day. They were seeing what was gone before the war even started. His little brother sacrificing himself for the safety of his family, exactly as remembered, as he hopes to forget. Brother. Outside of his dream, tears started falling down the American sheets. Before he knew it, he crumpled it into a ball and stomped into his legs. Eyes scrunched shut, the left growing red through the gap between the lids, his right showing nothing. But he had to stay strong. Guess what would come soon. Putting the bow and arrow away delicately, he washed his face and plastered on the fake smile, a delicately crafted mask, a facade, holding his hand after time just to hide how broken he was. Soviets Pav. Whether it was the work of Native America or not, we saw America's memories. Watched as he fell and saw the foreign beauty of his eyes. I understood why he had them now. The sound of his feet rushing out the door startled us, and my a small group of three hid behind the wall, then came back to the main street. None of us spoke well as he entered. His famous smile back on the red, white, and blue's face we all knew. I'm assuming Alaska told you what happened? His words seemed so happy, whereas he wasn't. I nodded. America. He smiled. Still fake. Well, I'm going to greet the newcomers at the beginning of the forest. They'll get lost if I don't. Walking away, he took a set of keys for a Rolls Royce from a shelf next to the articulately manufactured front door. Eagles Bob. I wanted to cry. Kewan was gone, and I loved him. They always looked to be in a similar state. As we sat on her car in front of the forest, Asian was still inside, narration similarly by their cars. And it confused me when he told us to wait by the forest before I released that this must have not been the only road inside the wood. American was always considerate, despite Flew realizing that fact. A accustomed Rolls-Royce drove to the rural wood, the door opening and revealing the American with his signature sugary sweet smile. I focused on the car. It looked extremely high-tech, even by luxury car standards. It's large enough to fit us all. The random cars we rented were quickly exited, their algorithm sending them back to the city. America walked up to me looking sympathetic. How are you holding up? I sniffed, sighing before I spoke. Well enough. Shrugging, he opened the door of the car. Get in my car. Get in my car. I'll only be about 10 minutes to get to my escape. He got on the wheel. His grip on the wheel was tight. He seemed stressed. Are you worried about space? Moo words. Orange with nervous feeling in control. Laughed slightly tense. No, something else is the concern. Tell me about the RedRed. Point towards the luggage. At the park of my car, which the German was braced uncomfortably against. He nodded, sitting in silence the rest of the drive. The others were talking quietly, shooting sidelong glances at the American. Chinese scowled. Time to erase the Chinese accents of the American. Woo! I bet your house looks ugly, just like your spawn that you dragged to the meetings. Wow, China. Jeez. Okay. First of all, how dare you? America turned around, his look assuming nothing of inspection, while not hiding his lunch thief. Don't insult my children like that. There are more of them than you think. My states, besides Delaware, had territories will stay home. Don't worry about space or pet. I have enough for all of them. A place I built myself would be shitty as something made shit. Don't insult my children like that. There are more of them than you think. My states beside Delaware and the territories all stay home. Don't worry about space or pets. I have enough for all of them. A place I built myself wouldn't be shitty as something labeled with Made in China. China glared at the back of America's head as the western country started humming to himself. He pulled up to a beautiful mansion on the closed perfect fun letter, bits of wood, marble, and stone paint. Looked like a perfect combination of ancient Roman and Greek architecture, combined with the modern world. It was breathtaking, and even the proud Chinese looked impressed. This is your house, Westerners? China growled. Though without any venom, he was kind. He smiled. Did I mention I built it myself? Even I was surprised the American this more than just American English. No, anybody wasn't. He opened the door, grinning cheesily. Let's go inside, shall we? His voice was stuck as a boy with the Alaskan flag on his face opened the door. And see, we saw a clash of beauty and chaos. The house, the children, the technology, gorgeous. Chaos, Britain, Sylvia arguing. Louisiana doing voodoo on poor Mississippi. And Florida doing what you expect. Elsie crying into George's shoulder, which was coated with, some mysterious white powder. Rex Pov walked towards my father and Sylvia, shoving them both onto the ground. Great, what? Oh my god! Go get tucked off by Mom, Dad. Said Sylvia smirked. Why don't you go drink, like a bastard? Capitalist bastard. Mumbled Lily as I turned away. Flipping back, I swallowed and cleared him. Who's that? Communist! Sounds ready to grab Louisiana's voodoo items, dispose them properly by shoving them into the magic cancellation theorist and drags Florida away from Georgia. The other state went took a shower to get the cocaine off her. Sighing, I told Jersey New York to make something Italian for dinner before going off to the label room to do work. Then I fell asleep at my desk after my dirty cup of coffee, noticing my door opening and someone picking me up, but not caring. And and that's my lovelies is it for today. Or yeah, today. My throat hurts and will I be looking? Let's go. Let's look at these. Good to see that you guys have been socializing, and now this live stream has been going on for an hour. That's what happens when I accidentally picked a 50 chapter story. Oh well. Well, goodbye, RedRed jars, and see y'all tomorrow night. Well, it'll have to be later at night because my mom's going to work and stuff. And she sleeps at home. But yeah. Good night, everybody. Go to frick to sleep. Okay, bye.